Today we're talking about what light to buy if you can only afford one. Welcome back, you guys. My name is Daniel with the SmashCake.com. Thanks for checking back in with us. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about if I could only afford one light, what light would it be? Now, back in the day, I wasted a ton of money buying gear that people thought I should have. And what ultimately ended up happening is that, well, I didn't use the stuff I bought. And because I was so new, I just didn't have the revenue to buy the stuff I really needed. So not only did I waste money, but I wasted a lot of time buying the wrong gear. Today, I'm going to help you guys avoid all of that by getting you started with the first light setup I think you should buy for smash cake photography. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. The first thing I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about is light stands. Now I know I just said we're going to talk about lights, but I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a little bit. We're starting with the light stand because it is vitally important. Now you don't want to spend money on a flash only to put it on a cheap stand and have that cheap stand fail and have the whole thing come crashing down. And for those of you without insurance, that would be catastrophic. So today we're going to go ahead and start with what light stand I think you should buy for the light that you should buy first. And that, of course, is a Century stand. Now, back in the day, Century stands were hugely expensive. $500, $600, $800, $1,200. They were just, oh my God. But today we live in the world of Chinese knockoffs. And while I don't normally support Chinese knockoffs, there are certain things that you can get away with. And a light stand is one of them. Now, the light stand I use is the newer, however you pronounce it, Century stand. And I know it's a knockoff, but I've used this a lot, and I can honestly tell you that there's minute differences. For what we use it for in the world of smash cake, the differences are very, very slight. And the price difference is enormous. So the light stands that I use are about, and I keep looking over here because I'm actually supporting this light with one, but the light stand that I'm using right now, I think we picked it up for $125. Now compare that to the $1,200 price tag that I've seen on some C stands, and it's a drastic savings. So always start with the newer C stand because, you know, let's face it, you're going to put a lot of money on top of it and you don't want it all come crashing down. And I have spent thousands of dollars at this point throughout my career on cheap light stands that I thought were a great deal. I'd buy 3 for $30 and I'd put a light on there and, you know, a week later the whole thing would fall apart. So, yeah, with what I spent on just cheap light stands, I could have bought a whole army of these newer C stands for $125 a piece. So that's where I would start with the foundation. Now, the light. Let's get to the light because that's why you click the button. That's what you want to know about. Now, a lot of you out there in the Facebook groups, when somebody asks what light should I buy, you guys are recommending everything from speed lights to alien bees to Yongnuos and so on and so forth. And while, you know, those suggestions work, they don't really work for me. The speed lights I find are just too underpowered, and the recycle time, it just takes too long. You let a burst of flash go, and it takes 3-4 seconds for that thing to recharge. Meanwhile, your smash cake client is doing something super cute, and you can't hit the button. You can't get that shot because you're waiting on the flash. So that's super annoying, and I absolutely hate it. So for smash cake photography, I never recommend speed lights. There are some larger speed lights on the market that kind of do the job. I own them. I use them for other types of photography. But I can honestly tell you that for in-studio smash cake photography, the only light that I would recommend would be a mono light. And the only mono lights I recommend are the ones with HighSpeed Sync. Now I can sit here and I can totally bore you all day with the nuances of HighSpeed Sync, the science behind it. I don't care about any of that. I just care about making sellable images. And basically, when you use a non-high-speed sync monolight like an Alien Bee, what happens is anytime you need to set your shutter speed above 1/200th of a second, what happens is you get a nasty black bar on the bottom of your picture, on every picture, because the light and the camera didn't sync up correctly. That doesn't happen with high-speed sync, but it definitely happened to me with my Alien Bees. And I was restricted to setting a shutter speed less than 1/200th of a second. And when you get a kid that's really moving and grooving and really running around your set, you miss a lot of shots because they're blurry and they're out of focus. And that's time wasted and shots you can't sell. So for that reason, HighSpeed Sync, when it came along and it was built-in standard to these Godox 8600 lights that I recommend, I lost my mind because that's what I had been begging for years. I spent thousands of dollars on little tiny HighSpeed Sync wannabe devices from Pocket Wizard, and it was a hot mess. And Godox has come along and just made all of that super, super simple. Now, the next reason I love the Godox monolight, let's see, it's not because of the HighSpeed Sync or it's got a lot of power. The recycle time it's amazing, but it's just something I never thought was a deal. They're battery operated. These guys have no cords. Now, when you run multiple lights like I do on my set, having cords run all over the studio, that is just an absolute hazard and a danger. Now, you guys know at this point how I feel about safety. It is paramount. And for those of you who are operating without insurance, okay, number one, oh my God, get insurance. But number two, if you have cords running all over your set and you don't have insurance, an accident's bound to happen at that point. So get yourself some battery-operated lights. They're amazing. The next thing that I absolutely love about these battery-powered, high-powered, high-speed sync marvels of technology is the fact that you can control all of your power settings from the back of the camera. Now, these lights ship with a little controller, and you can literally control the intensity of the light just by pushing a few buttons. And if you're like me and you run multiple lights, you can put each light into a different group and control each one of those lights independently throughout the shoot without disturbing the baby, without disturbing the parents, and without getting up in the middle of the shoot to grab a ladder and fiddle with your lights. It's amazing. So, and you get all of this for a relatively cheap price of, I believe, the 8600 and the controller ship for somewhere in the neighborhood of $800. Now, I know a lot of you out there are on very restricted budgets, but I'm telling you that this is one of those things where you buy it once and you buy it right, and it's going to be an investment. You will make your money back in the first couple of shoots. I promise. I make my money back on these lights every single shoot. So it's a beautiful thing. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, now that you have the light, what are you going to modify the light with? So if you go on Pinterest right now and you start looking at smash cake photography, or you go on Instagram or whatever, you're going to see that the lighting looks very similar. Like all of the images that you love, the lighting looks pretty darn similar, and I can tell you why. It's because they're using a 5 or a 7-foot octabox to light the darn thing. And then the joy of using an octabox like that is that it lessens the transition from highlights to shadows. It means it gives you a nice smooth gradient transition instead of a very abrupt hard light situation that you might get with a speed light. If you look at those images that you love and that I love, they all don't really have a whole lot of shadowing going on. And that comes from creating a giant, enormous wall of light, which is what you're going to create with your Godox 8600 and a 7-foot octabox. So that's it. That's the setup I would use. If I was starting from scratch tomorrow and I had to put a little money into the set, I would buy the Neewer C-stand, I would buy the 8600 monolight, and I would buy a 7-foot octabox to put it in. And all of that, plus maybe a very cheap reflector or a one of those poster boards set up like a V-flat, is enough to get you started. If you don't buy any other lights, that is enough for you to start making money and to start bringing in customers with your smash cake photography. So I really hope that this all helped you guys. If you have any questions, definitely hit me up in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. And in the meantime, if you want to check out any of the gear, you of course can find it in the Pro Shop on the smashcake.com. So, thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to thumbs up and do all that stuff. And until next time, my name is Daniel with the smashcake.com, and I will talk with you in the next video.